Hello friends, I'm Alice. Thank you so much for watching. This is actually my second try trying to film this, but I really want to get this done because I wanted to just address the topic or see whether or not you need expensive supplies to make art. That's not talking about professionals or people who sell their art, because most of the very cheap supplies, they are not light fast and maybe not, well, waterproof. It depends on what you're using, but most of them are not light fast, so they won't last for very long time and the colors will kind of start to dull. But this is mainly for people, especially maybe younger people who are just getting into art and who are not looking to spend too much. Maybe you're still in school and you don't have that much money. So I would not advise you to just go out and buy a bunch of stuff, because I'm pretty confident, pretty sure that you can make art and draw a lot and be creative with the things you already have at home, or that you most probably have at home, or maybe you don't, things that don't cost too much that you might be able to get for a birthday or something like that. So first of all, I will show you the stuff that I have and just show you what I have which might be quite not popular but rather well known, and then stuff that are from the cheaper side or the more affordable side, and after that I will try and do a quick little sketch, but I will speed that one up and then talk over that, because the last time I filmed it was 40 minutes long and that's too much. I don't want to do that to you. So let's get into it. I will go from in the order in which I usually use this stuff when I do my art. So we will start off with pencil. These would be my my preferred ones. Actually, this is the Uni Kurotoga, but it costs about 12 euros. And since it's just a mechanical pencil, you can always just use your regular pencil. The advantage of a mechanical pencil is, of course, you don't need to sharpen the lead, which means you always have a rather fine and precise line, while with these you need to sharpen them. It depends on what kind of drawings you do, but I prefer really fine lines. So today I will just use a pencil. Both of them are just pencils that I got from some they are advertising pens. I don't know, they distributed them at my campus. So we have our pencils. Next on, we need an eraser, which we use to erase our mistakes. I don't have a cheap eraser because as soon as I get a bad eraser, I will throw that out. I don't like to hang on to stuff that don't work for me and they just take up place and they clutter everything up, and you probably shouldn't hang on to stuff just for sentimental reasons, maybe. Except for journals. I like to hold on to my journals. But this is the Dust Catch Mono. It works really nice, and I definitely recommend you to buy an eraser that works well, because nothing frustrates you more than trying to erase a line, but rather than that you just make a long gray streak. You know what I'm talking about, those really cheap ones. Get a nice eraser. There are really nice ones and most of them don't cost over $2. So get an eraser. That's probably one of the things that I definitely tell you, get one that you know erase well. Next one, we would do our line art, but because I apparently don't have any cheap fine liner, I've searched and searched, but I couldn't find one. I would usually do my line art. There are three options. I would either do them with my fountain pen. Oops. This is the Platinum Preppy in a super fine tip, which is amazing for details. It is so fine, and the ink I have in it is a really nice dark brown color. Or I would use a Uniball Signo. This one is in black. I also have it in brown. Or I would use a Sakura Micron. I really do recommend these, especially if you try to work with watercolors, because they're waterproof. They are light fast, they are archival ink, which means the ink will not go anywhere even in years to come. If you do not have a waterproof marker or a waterproof pen, then I would recommend you to first do the watercolors, and afterwards, after the colors have completely dried, you can go in with any other pen you want, because then most of the time the colors will not smear. I usually like to do the line art first, but we'll see how it goes. Today, let's say I don't have any of these pens, but they are not too expensive in my opinion. You can get the microns on eBay for $1 a pen, and they take quite long to ship because they come from China. But they are the actual microns, and so I don't think they're too expensive if you want to get maybe one to try them out, and it's free shipping, so it's quite a nice deal. But because I don't have any other pen, I do have a Pilot V5, but again, that's not... Let's try to use stuff that we already have at home. I would say we just take maybe our pencil, we can go in and make the lines darker, or you can use a really dark colored pencil. I will use just a dark blue that I have. I've had this since I was in maybe first grade. I'm not sure, but I've had this for quite a long time. Next, we would need some watercolors, of course, because I like watercolors. Usually I would use the Winsor Newton set. But this one is not too, oh my god, this one is not too expensive. It also comes with a little brush, which is in the perfect size. It costs, it costs $12 on eBay. No, on Amazon. So maybe you could get that for maybe birthday, Christmas, something like that. But yeah. If you're just starting out, a cheap one is absolutely fine. Most of you, I think, will have one at home, because here in Austria, we are required to buy these for school. Back in school, we had to try them and had to use them, although I hated them back then. But this one is 13 years old. I got this, wait, maybe older. I'm not sure, but it's really old. And as you can see, they are almost used up, some of them, because I went way too overboard with the pigments when I was in school. This is really dirty, so later on we will use a plastic sheet to mix. Oops. Which is just, this one is just a plastic sheet. You can always wash this part out and then use this, or whatever plasticky thing you have, you can mix on that. So I guess you probably have watercolors. If not, they are really cheap ones. There are some that only cost €2, so it's really affordable. And of course we need brushes for our brush set. Usually I use Winsor Newton ones, but I do have these really cheap water brushes, because I don't have any proper brushes. I think, no, I didn't throw them out, but I can't find them, so we'll use these water brushes. They were in a pack, and together they cost me, I think, $3 or maybe $2. It wasn't much. I got it on AliExpress, I think. And they have 3 different sizes, but they are super tight and I can't get them off. Oh my god. Ah. Okay. So this is the medium one. This is the finest one, and then we also have the thickest one. We will use these brushes for our little drawing today, and we of course also need a little piece of cloth to clean our brushes. And I have a little bit of toilet paper, so we can dab away the excessive colors. That would be our supplies, I think, and we will be starting now with our sketch. I'll see you soon. I completely forgot to mention the type of paper, because if you've looked very closely, you might notice I changed the paper that I'm using. It's not a special paper, it's actually the usual 80 GSM printer paper that we use at home for everything. But the reason I changed it is because the one that I had laying there previously is even worse than this. This one actually was okay, because I didn't use very heavy washes and too much water, so it held up okay, and I also did not use too many layers on there. But the ones I had before, it is so terrible. You lay the color down and it completely absorbs the color, so you cannot work with it. And if I were to use that paper for the first time I ever used watercolor, I would completely hate watercolor. It is so terrible. So if you're just getting into watercolor, maybe invest in a drawing pad. They are not too expensive. I know there are drawing pads that are about 100 sheets for not too much, but still, if you were to just use something you have at home, take your usual printer paper and try it out and just see if it works, because my printer paper is actually okay for light washes, but it still absorbs water quite quickly, so I had to work fast, or the colors would turn very patchy. And if it turns patchy, you would just need a lot more water, if that makes sense, because it turns patchy because one part of the color you just laid down is completely absorbed by the water, by the paper. So the next time you lay something on top, it just gets darker and looks quite terrible, especially on skin. So it's always best to first use a flat wash for skin. So paper, very, very important. You can try on cheap paper, but just keep in mind, if it does not work out, it might be the fault of the paper, if that makes sense. But yeah. And now I am using colored pencils to draw in more shadows. This is a new thing I'm trying out, and it's been working really nicely. It's really fun. It's really fun. I do recommend you try it. And all the colored pencils I have are so very old. I've had them for I think about 7 to 10 years. So I'm all about using the stuff that you already have at home, especially colored pencils. I feel like most of them you really don't need the expensive brand. You know, you can work with the ones you already have, and because I'm all about using the stuff you already have and saving money on stuff that you don't necessarily need the expensive stuff from, because I mean, I don't know, traveler's notebooks are expensive, fountain pens are expensive, and those are things I'm willing to invest in, but colored pencils are not really that kind of stuff. I like using buying individual colors if I need them, but yeah, I'm rambling. I'm just trying to encourage you guys to try and give the stuff that you already have a second chance and work on it. Most of the time it's all about practice and less about the materials that you have. So get creative, sit down, get a paper, get your copy paper, and start drawing. Most of you have the Midori paper anyway, and the Midori inserts are great. They work really nicely with watercolors, so try that out. But yeah, later on I will show you a little bit of a video, yes, about all the supplies I use, and as you can see, it was not a lot, so I'm pretty sure most of you have all that stuff at home, and I hope you enjoyed this. If you try this out and you are on Instagram, tag me. I will leave my Instagram down below. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And yeah, hope you enjoyed it and stay creative. Bye!